I don't want to spoil it, but when he dies.
Yes.
Very subtle, Tracie. Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and start. I just figured this would be like a nice discussion because obviously like different moments hit different people. So I think it'd be really cool like to discuss like what moments like hit us. And like in terms of like if it's spoilery or not, like I guess we can just say has everyone seen this? And if they haven't, like you can still talk about it, but be like as vague as possible without giving away too much. So yeah, like I guess do either of you want to start first? Like I have like a pretty big list of like stuff I could think of, but
have we all watched all of My Hero? Like, are we all caught up on it?
I am caught up with My Hero, yes.
I haven't completely caught up, but I mean, you can go ahead for most of it.
Okay, I was just gonna say the fight with Overhaul with Aerie.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That one was awesome, and it even had Toga being like,
even Toga's like, yeah, pretty good.
This is normal. This is fine. This isn't mildly terrifying.
So like my favorite thing is watching reactors watch that scene because it's the like when Deku's like coming down from the sky and he's just like, it's so cool. Yeah, and then I gotta say like my favorite My Hero scene like that really sticks out to me is when Bakugo breaks down during his and Deku's fight.
Oh yeah, that was so sad. I cried.
No, I'm like out of all My Hero characters, I'm like Bakugo is not the character I thought would make me cry.
And I was prepared for like Sue's, I was down, but like Bakugo's, I couldn't do it.
No, because like it was in that moment I'm like, this boy's my favorite character in this show. I like it was such a good scene character wise because suddenly like I think that's the moment like if you don't really get Bakugo's motivations and stuff before this point, like that's the point you like everything he's done up to this point you understand.
It makes sense.
Like and plus
Bakugo
the acting
just also has a really cool like if you analyze his personality, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like the acting, because I've seen it in both English. I just watched it in English version, and then I saw the Japanese version, and both performances are so good. It's it's so good. Did I have? Okay.
Well, on the topic of My Hero, Hero Rising, when I don't want to give spoilers because this is going up, and I don't know who's all seen it, but the final fight, you know what I'm just like, and that whole final fight was really awesome, especially the very end. That was so cool.
I'm still shook from Heroes Rising, and I'm like ready for it to come out on digital so I can watch it again because Karrie, I've been texting you. But I've been showing my sister My Hero, and we're about 4 episodes into season 3, and I'm like getting her to catch up. I'm like, come on, let's go.
But like the Hero Rising mixed with the last scene from season 5, the latest season.
Yeah, season 4
or 5. I don't remember which one we're on. That has raised so many questions about One for All, and I'm just like, what is happening? What is this?
What's happening? Okay, Tracie, do you want to talk? It doesn't have to be a My Hero moment, but a moment that you had in mind.
I was gonna say Voltron for Mozart. Most of the scenes in Voltron, like the fighting scenes, those were definitely
cool.
Definitely epic. I think my favorite one was when Megan, you introduced me to the series and Lotor. And you're just like, oh, we love him to death. And he's like a character we love. And then at the end, we wanted to kill him. And then when they literally killed him was the best part. I think that was really...
I was also really disappointed because I just thought I liked Lotor and I was excited to see if like... I was excited to see him grow as a character.
I was so sad when he like turned back. I'm like, I wanted you to be good, my dude. And now you're...
Now he's really not.
No, my favorite Voltron scene. Well, you'll find a trend in these. I always go towards the sad shit, but Midget Matt's grave. That will always be.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Tears, immediate tears. I was like, this is not real. This is not happening.
That was the first time Voltron made me cry. Like that was like the first time in the show it made me cry because it was so frustrating. I'm like, are you shitting me? After all this, I think I knew Matt was okay because I'd seen like promo stuff with him in it, so I'm like, there's no way he's dead. But yeah, that scene definitely hit in a different spot. And then the Black Paladin fight, Keith and Shiro's fight.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one was intense.
So yeah.
I think my favorite episode on that one, especially the scenes and stuff like that, was Space Mall.
Space Mall. So
funny.
I literally will go back to if I have a bad day.
I feel like that whole thing was just to remind everyone that these are a bunch of chaotic teenagers that just got let loose into a mall.
Yes.
And the only person who doesn't go is kids. Yeah, and the only person who doesn't go is the one who's not a chaotic teenager but a chaotic adult. I just love they're all having fun at a mall, and then Shiro's like doing like a mind battle with Zarkon, and he's actually doing shit.
I want a mall scene with Shiro.
I want it.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god. I'm like looking through my list. Okay. Tracie, I know you're caught up. Karrie, how much have you seen of Attack on Titan?
Oh yes.
I've seen most of the newest season, or some of it, but I'm not all the way caught up.
So you're not all the way through season 3, is what you're saying?
No.
Okay, so we've all seen Attack on Titan, so I can talk about this. Spoilers alert for Attack on Titan. But when the Colossal and the Armored Titan are revealed.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. I was so angry.
No, because
I was like, how dare they?
It is one of the most brilliantly done scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Like, you feel actual betrayal.
Like,
you feel betrayed.
Like the emotional, like I shouldn't say catharsis because it's not catharsis. You're just frustrated. But like the emotional weight of it, sure. But just the way it's done, because it kind of comes out of fucking nowhere. like you're not expecting it to happen, and it is done so casually. The way it's revealed, they're like, oh yeah, it's this, and. Like I knew the plot twist beforehand. It had been spoiled for me, so like I didn't get like the full thing, but I was thrown by how it was just thrown in there, and I'm like, wait, this is how they're doing it? Okay.
Can you guys hear my cat going off?
No.
Okay. Yeah, she's just over on the other side of the room, just meowing at me.
I love that.
I don't know what she wants, but. I have two, and they're not really epic moments, but they're my favorite moments from Attack on Titan. Oh, she's coming over.
Yeah.
Is this what you wanted, Smokey?
Hi, Smokey.
So, one of them is when Annie is talking to that one other guy, and they're, like, discovering, like, the corruption that is in the Unicorn Squad people, and she's talking about Eren, and the guy's like, would Eren or would the boy you know would have killed these people? And she's like, oh yeah, totally. And you're like,
oh yeah,
Eren definitely would have killed him.
Yeah, or at least beat the shit out of him. Maybe not killed him, but he definitely would have beaten the yeah, that's a moment I don't really think about, because like I kind of, because like she hasn't been in seasons 2 or 3. I kind of forget Annie exists. And I'm like, I'm just like waiting for season 4 for her to come back. So I'm like, where's Annie? What's happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of forget about those scenes because it was so long ago.
Scene just cracked me up. It just killed me because it was like, that's our main character. That's our protagonist.
Killed like 3 grown men at the age of 9.
Yeah. In a way that like shocked the guards. They're like, a kid did this?
I was like, what the fuck? Tracie, you got a favorite Attack on Titan moment?
It was like, wasn't really okay. It was the most intense moment is when Armin I don't want to spoil it for Karrie, but when Armin dies.
I don't want to spoil it, but when he dies.
Yes.
Very subtle, Tracie.
So that whole actual episode was more intense than anything, but
that is a very, very good episode. Not just with the Armin stuff, but with like the Levi stuff that's going on. Again, I'm not gonna spoil it for Karrie, but that's probably that episode and the episode that follows it with like the argument top Tracie. Like those two episodes are probably my favorite episodes of season 3. They're very good.
I don't know if Amber got that recording or not and sent it to you, but I was screaming. Oh no, I don't think she did. I think it recorded, but it didn't record with sound.
Yeah, it didn't record the sound, so I was just like her recording a scream, and I'm like, Amber, I can't hear shit. I don't know what to do. I don't know what this is. I
literally lost it. I was bawling my head off because I was like, you can't do that to a character.
That was also spoiled for me. Armin dying was spoiled for me.
Well, sorry, Karrie. I just spoiled it for you and everyone else who's watching.
She doesn't know how it happened, so.
That's true.
We gave the spoiler warning before.
We gave it. We gave it. Okay. Let me look. Oh. I'm trying to. Like, I want to talk about stuff, but I'm like, I don't know if. Okay, Haikyuu, because I know Karrie's at least seen Haikyuu, and I love
the anime.
I love it's in season 1 and it's Asahi and Nishinoya's fight in the broom closet.
Oh my god, that was so intense. And especially for two characters you don't really know about, to find that out, you're like,
yeah, because they've literally like just were introduced like in the episode beforehand, and then they show this fight and it's like,
and then it throws it at you hard. I was like,
it's Tracie, you're gonna love Haikyuu.
My favorite scene, it will forever.
I'm excited.
My favorite Haikyuu scene so far has been when he goes with Ushijima, when they bump into him. And he steals the ball, and then he's like, I'm Hinata from the Kurosano parking lot, or Concrete, depending on which one you watch.
Yeah.
And we're going to National. That whole scene, I was like, oh my god, that's our boy!
And then there's another one, Karrie. I don't know if you've seen this because it wasn't on Netflix, but on Crunchyroll they have the Haikyuu OVAs, and it's an OVA and it follows Abajosai after Kurosano beats them at the end of season 2.
Yeah, I saw.
And it's
Are you talking about when Oikawa bows and says thank you?
When he starts crying and all the third years start crying. I'm like, no.
Because I low-key love Oikawa so much. And I was
I'm like, don't make me cry with this bitch. Don't make me cry with him.
Wasn't the defeat enough? Like, there's also one with Date Check where it follows them after their defeat. And I was like, was that not enough? And
then my favorite was Oizumi, who's like, you're probably not going to be happy like for the rest of your life. And Oikawa's like, what kind of curse are you putting on me, man? Like, what are you talking about? Okay, I feel Tracie, say another one. I feel you're being left out.
So this is an old one, but a good one. We've seen it all. I know Karrie, have you seen Pokemon? You have, haven't you? For the most part.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen at least a little Pokemon. There's no such thing as a fucking Pokemon spoiler. You can say whatever.
Okay. The first movie, I actually watched it with my brother and my sister. I don't know if we watched it in theaters. I think we did. But I remember watching it and I got so, like, the beginning opening and the song and stuff like that. I think that was my favorite out of all the, like, the Pokemon movies and stuff, was the 2001. Or was it?
Oh, yeah, 2000? Yeah.
Was it 2000? It was Mewtwo.
The Mewtwo one? No, that was the first movie.
Yeah, it was the first movie. So.
Yeah.
Okay. But I remember the battle scene was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Where they're playing that really cheesy, like, late 90s, early 2000s song where it's like, brother.
Yes,
it's really cheesy.
I think I cried during that time. I was in 4th grade, so 3rd or 4th grade at the time.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure I cried at the time, but I was a kid, so.
Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, we gotta talk about it because I know all three of us love and have seen this movie. the I love you in the hand in your name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, like, it's so good.
The one where I was like,
God, that is really good.
Yeah.
Literally,
that movie.
I showed that movie recently to my best friend and my sister, and like they really loved the movie, but they were like mostly silent for the whole thing. Like they were just like kind of like watching and like getting in. It was that moment. That was the first moment they were like, they're like, no. They were like crying.
Was it that
great.
the one where like I think was that the one where they break apart, like where they disappear before they finish writing?
Yeah, like she.
Okay. And because I watched it separately from the whole group in Megan's room.
Yeah.
And I just noticed that everyone's staring at me because I'm like me and the other one, we were the only two that hadn't watched it. Everyone's staring at us, and I was like, "What is about to happen?" And then it happened, and I was like, "Wow!"
Oh, my favorite part was Maddie laughed.
Maddie laughed.
Maddie laughed because she's like it's like the universe is just giving a huge fuck you.
I think I literally said that. I was like, "Wow."
Oh yeah, that movie's so great.
I was like, "Well, fuck you too, then." Jeez.
Oh my God.
We didn't want it anyways.
I talked my parents into watching it finally, and so we all sat down and watched it. And my mom's just like, at the end, she goes, "Well, that was a good movie, but House Moving Castle is so much better." No,
like, I love me some House Moving Castle, but no, it is not.
No, it's not. I know. I was just like, no. As much as I love House Moving Castle, no.
No, my mom didn't get your name when I showed it to her. She couldn't follow it.
They couldn't really follow it either, honestly. Like, I had to explain some stuff to them, and I'm like, okay.
There's a lot of leaps, but like,
this is a really like out there, like a moment probably no one ever focuses on. So what I love about Ghibli movies is that they kind of capture this, like, they capture like little moments in life that movies don't tend to like focus on. And like, I don't know, there's just like a lot of like truth in them. And it's this one little moment in Castle in the Sky that I love. And
I love that movie.
And it's when here, Karrie, did you see Castle in the Sky when we watched it? No. Well, it's not a spoiler thing. But at the end of the movie, they finally get to Laputa, and it's Patsu and Shida, and they land, and they get on, and they're tied together. And it's my favorite part because they're so excited and they want to like get free and they want to go run and like see everything. And Patsu's trying to undo the rope, but he can't. And so he's it's like him trying to undo the rope. He decides he can't, and he just picks her up and they go anyway. And I'm like, I love that. Yes. I love the fact that like they can't undo the rope, and he's just like, screw it, we're just gonna go tied in the rope. Like, I just love little moments like that. It's very realistic. And like, I just love stuff like that, like little moments like that. So yeah, we've all seen Violet Evergarden, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I got me some Violet Evergarden moments because
my cat is about to take out my dresser.
Oh no. Is it okay?
Oh, she made it. Okay, we're good.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I just look over and I see her climbing it, and it start to tilt, and I was like, "Oh no."
Okay. Some Violet Evergarden moments. I love it. It's the episode with the princess where she has to write the love letters for the princess, and I love. It's the very ending scene where the princess is in her wedding dress. And her
oh yeah,
and her handmaiden's next to her, and she literally gets down on her knees and like bows to her handmaiden for like taking care of her. Aww. And it has the sad ass ending song in the background, and it's like tears all around. So I don't know.
Also, when her and Violet and Cordelia are meet at the end, and Cordelia realizes that Violet is actually smiling for the first time, like a real smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like so proud. I was like, "Aww."
Yeah. And then this is a moment from the movie that recently came out on Netflix. But there's because I don't know why. I love Benedict so much. I love him as a character, and I don't know why. But there's a moment at the end of the Violet Evergarden movie where he gets really emotional, and it like hit me, and I'm like,
Oh yeah,
I'm like, my
that
boy.
movie.
There's another one coming out too later this
Is
year.
there?
I'm really excited.
Oh, I
That's
don't know if
exciting.
I've seen the movie yet, but I'll have
It's
to
on
see the other.
Netflix, Tracie. It's
I
on
know,
Netflix.
like the series left
check
it
it
very open-ended because on who like she sees at the doorway, and then the movie kind of like cuts that off. Did you notice that? Like that he's not back in her life, and it's kind of implied that the dude is still believed to be dead.
Major.
The major.
Oh, yeah,
in the
yeah.
movie, but like in this, it left it, and in the spoiler alert
Oh,
novels,
that
it's
breaks my
revealed that he
heart
isn't
because she
dead.
loves the Major. Yeah.
Well, in the novels, because I looked it up, because I was like, because I remember when we were watching
Keep
it, we were like,
talking,
who
I'll be right
was
back.
it? I remember we were like freaking because we were like, well, who did
Yeah,
she
that's
see
right.
that caused her to have that reaction? So I looked it
Because we
up,
thought
and
it was the Major.
the mate. Like he is supposed to be alive in the
Alive.
novels, but in the movie, it's like, no, he's dead. And I was like,
What?
okay.
Oh. Hello. Hi.
I want a Kenny, so just give me a second. Okay, go ahead.
I think with Violet Evergarden, going back to that, the one with the mother and the child,
Oh yeah, that was so sad.
we all
Yeah.
cry together.
That's like the one episode that gets everybody. Everyone thinks they're gangster until you hit episode 10 of Violet Evergarden. And then
You
everything
die.
goes out the window.
Or when like at the very end when they're releasing the letters and she's reading her letter
Yeah,
to the general, her
that's
final goodbye, her final report, and the letters are coming
Yeah.
down and stuff. That was a moment.
Also, I'm a huge music person, so I always like stick to a really big musical moment. In the OVA, the song that the opera singer sings.
Oh yeah,
That's
her
a
song,
beautiful
and you
ass
knowing
song.
that Violet wrote that after like putting it two and two with her and the major and the opera singer's lover and her.
Yeah.
Like that was just so sad.
Yeah.
It's like, aw.
Okay.
But I just also loved everyone staring at Violet in confusion when they're like, she wrote this?
Everyone's like, what? Okay.
Violet did this? This was Violet?
Have either of you seen Death Note?
I
have not seen
some
the
of
series, but I've seen the actual, not the anime movie, but the actual movie. So
The
I
actual
haven't like
movie.
really seen it. There's an
I
actual
didn't. I
movie
like
that came
started like,
out.
and I got like 10
Did you
minutes in,
see?
and I was
Wait,
like,
did you see like the Japanese movie or the American movie?
No, American. Sadly, I need to watch the Japanese.
Tracie.
I know.
Get through it.
Okay.
At all. Like,
Okay, we're not gonna touch on that, but okay. So in the show, so you both basically know the general premise of what Death Note is. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's the moment when L reveals himself to Light, and it's like, it's kind of like the Colossal Titan, the Colossal Armor Titan reveal in Attack on Titan, in that it is done so casually and it comes out of nowhere that you're not expecting L to do it, because they're literally, L has like infiltrated Light's college to get closer to him because he's like, I bet you Kira, bitch.
I remember that.
And so they're sitting next to each other. They're both the heads of their class, and Light just thinks he's a weird guy. Like, he doesn't know he's L. And L's like, hey, I may have something that relates to the Kira investigation. I thought you should know since you're the police chief's son. And Light's like, who the fuck is this guy? Okay, sure. What do you have to say? And L's like, I'm L. And like, it's so crazy because Light is standing, he can't like show anything on his face or else like that looks really suspicious, but it's so great because he's like just sitting there really passively, but inside you can hear like his panic voice. He's like, what the fuck do I do? He's like, how do I respond to that? Is he just messing with me? Is he really L? I don't know what's happening. And I love that scene so much, especially because it goes later. It shows Light goes back home because he has to act all like calm and everything, and they're like, oh, I'll see you in class, blah blah blah. He gets home and he is so pissed. He's like knocking stuff off shelves. He's like, he fucking got me. He's like, what the fuck do I do? And even Ryuk's like in the background like, wow, like he fucking snapped. Like it's such a brilliantly done scene, and I love it. I need to rewatch Death Note. That's one thing I need to do.
I do too, but I just add it to the mile-long list.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
Either
It's
of you
crazy
have.
because I have like a list that I watch, but yet I keep rewatching anime that I love.
Yuri on Ice.
I do.
Megan got I was like, fan, and then I got to that point and I sit. So it was the scene where Victor asked he's like, do you know why I became your coach? And I took a picture because I was watching it subbed. Have the subtitles, and I was like, because I got butt naked and grinded on you while asking. And then it was like, because of the music. And I was like, oh. But that's what I do. I always rewatch stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One I have is at the very end of Ouran High School Host Club, which I'm assuming everyone's watched. Has everyone here watched Ouran? Okay. Yeah. So at the very end, when the host club is chasing after Tamaki, like pretty much that whole last episode, because it's like
and they're like all dropping, like,
and they all just keep dropping off.
Happens to all of them until finally it's just Haruhi.
It's just Haruhi. No, but I love that because I love character-driven moments, and that's the one time because like found family is like a really huge theme in that show, and that's the first time you really see that. Like it's like everyone agrees upon it. They're like, listen. This ain't fucking
We're dragging his butt
like
back.
It's like you brought us together, bitch. You're
kicking
staying.
And screaming.
Yeah.
And so
we will
like
drag you back, kicking and screaming if we have to, and fight your dad and grandma. I will hit an old lady.
Yeah, it also and it's like little things in that chase because like it's the first time you see Kyoya like actually like frustrated and like actually kind of mad and worried. And it's like little moments like when the guards come up, you can see like Hikaru puts Haruhi behind him, like it's like to protect her and everything. And then like Mori and Honey are just like, we're about to fuck shit up. Let's go. And, I don't know. I just like that whole final episode is very, very good.
That was very intense. I thought Ouran did really well with like playing like it's because it seemed like it was this very like cutesy, lighthearted show, and then it would just occasionally throw something in that made you be like, "Wait, what?" But then it would just kind of gloss right over it, and as it kind of goes, it would be a little bit more here and maybe a little bit more there, and then you get to the end and you're like, "Ah!"
Panic screaming. Okay, going off of shows that seem really lighthearted on the surface but are actually really dark. I want to talk about Fruits Basket.
Yes, let's talk about that.
I'm not caught. I'm not finished.
Yeah, I know. I'll be.
I'm really... not finished either.
Okay, I know Tracie. You're at least finished with season 1.
Yes.
Right. And then Karrie, you haven't seen past what we've watched in the club, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you watched? Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't say much. This isn't really a spoiler scene I want to talk about anyway, but there's a great scene near the end of season 1, and it's where Toru gets sick. She gets the flu, and so she like can't cook, she can't clean or anything, like, and the boys are like, just calm down, you don't have to do everything. And Kyo like makes her dinner, and he like brings it to her, and they have like a really nice conversation like as she's eating, where like she's like, I feel like I'm such a disgrace, like I failed a final, like I can't cook, and like I feel like I'm letting everybody down. And Kyo's like, chill, like you literally do everything all the time, you can afford to not do something for a split second. And like and it's also my poor chipper heart because he's like, I just want your smile to come back, because when it's not there, it throws me off. And he admits that to her. It's not in his head. He legit says that to her, and I think it's so cute. It's great.
That show is just full of little cute, heartwarming moments, but then then it has its moments where you're like, what is happening?
There's plenty of moments in season 2 that I would love to talk about, but I'm not, because I know you two haven't seen it. So season 2 gets real. Season 2 gets real. Everyone here's seen the original Full Metal Alchemist? Question mark? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to talk about Conqueror Shambhala, the movie. Have we seen that? Has everyone seen that movie?
Is it the movie that's after?
Yeah, the movie that's like the
Yeah.
finale of the original series.
Where I was like, why? Why did we even need this?
But I love it either way. But there's this. It's the scene at the end. I don't know if you'd remember this, but it's the scene at the end, and it's like after like the final battle or whatever, and it's Ed, Al, and Mustang, and they're on the wing of that plane, and Ed separates himself from Al and Mustang, and he's like, "Listen, I gotta go take this back," and it's just like Al's like pleading like screams, and like it is so sad because they've been separated for like 2 years, and I was like, no, like you can't leave me, like I just got you back, and like it's like heart wrenching.
It is.
And like
that last scene when he gets sent like that, I was just like, when the big fight scene when he gets sent to this other where Ed did, I was like, oh my god, when like Al wakes up and realizes like what happened and what Ed did and all that, I was like, what is this show?
Yeah.
They're like 12.
I love my children. Oh my god.
I was like, somebody protect them. I also just love the scene where Ed sees his dad again at their house, and he just like comes up and just punches him, and everyone's like, what did you just, why?
And Al's just like,
get
that's
out
normal.
here.
Al's just like, that's normal.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's fine, and everyone else like, it's not, but okay.
Also, we have a little time. I'm just gonna talk about this because I know Karrie will get what I'm talking about. Tracie might not, but the Deus Ex Machina moment in Premiere.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
It is a literal Deus Ex Machina and a metaphorical Deus Ex Machina.
That show, that movie, I'm so glad I own it now. Like,
that joke was so self-aware that I couldn't,
there
like,
was
literally
so many
everyone in the theater applauded. Everyone applauded.
It was
like it was crazy.
Best way to introduce that.
I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. You know what it is. It's gonna be fun anyway.
You know what you're doing.
I don't care.
Know.
Tracie, were you there the night we watched Angel Beats?
No, unfortunately not.
No? Okay, well, I'll be kind of vague about it then. Karrie, the I'll marry you moment. You remember that in Angel Beats?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love it. Like, it's another moment that kind of comes out of nowhere.
Just that whole, like,
appreciate it.
The reveal of who Angel is. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. It was about those last 4 episodes of Angel Beats. Those are the ones that get you. It is rough.
I'm gonna have to watch this now.
Yeah, it is.
It's on Netflix, Tracie.
It's okay. Just like, it is on Netflix. It is just so sad and so intense. And like for a show where I was making harem jokes the entire time, I was not ready for it.
No. I just can't get over, Megan, this is the other show.
Something's gonna happen. It always does in animes like this.
Yeah. And then you're saying, I'm gonna flip the table, and Dill's like, let me move my drink.
I have one.
Okay.
Karrie, were you there when we watched when Marnie was there?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah,
I was. Talking about how we were trying to figure out because we thought it was a love interest, and it was not.
And then it turned really awkward because everyone was
we were all like,
jokes.
Gay? And then it was like,
me who had seen the movie. Me who had seen the movie, and you guys are making lesbian jokes, and I'm like,
definitely not. After that,
I'm like, I didn't want to give away the twist, but at the same time, I'm like, no, like, I'm like, dude, they could just be good friends.
And we're like, no, and you're like, yeah, and we're like, no, and then they were like, no,
definitely
no. No, it's like that keyboard meme. Fuck, go back. Yeah. There's Oh, were either of you there when we watched In This Corner of the World, the movie? Do you remember that? Were either of you there?
No, I haven't watched
Don't
it.
think I watched that one.
Well, I'll be really vague about it then. But there's a moment because it takes place in Japan during World War II, and it's the town over from Hiroshima, and immediately like you're like, okay, when's it gonna happen? When's the thing gonna happen? And it takes place near the end of the movie, and the way they did the bomb was
I saw this, and that's why I wanted to block it out of my memory.
no, but the way that they like did the bomb was like brilliant, because like it's not filmed like the day's going on and they're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna be doing this today, I'm gonna go to the doctor and whatever, and of course they're the town over and there's like a mountain separating them from Hiroshima, and so all they see is this bright light, and that's like all it is, and then there's like this huge gust of wind and they're just there, like there's no real big destruction, they're just like, what the hell was that? And then like you're just left with like the aftermath. And I just think the way they did that, like it was not only like tasteful, it was like tasteful in a way that they did that, and like it was also like really interesting to like get like the viewpoint of people who were around there but weren't in like the immediate destruction of it. I thought it was very well done. Either of you want to talk about favorite Avatar moments? Favorite Avatar moments, anybody? Anybody? Well, Karrie, you just recently
like
started
4
watching
episodes of it.
That's all you've watched?
I just started watching it.
Okay. Favorite moment out of the first 4 episodes?
As of right now, the moment when he like falls into the water when fighting Zuko the first time, and he like the eyes glow and you see that. And I was watching it with my boyfriend who's watched it before, and I looked at him, I was like, I thought he said he didn't know water bending, and he just looked at me. I was like, that's water bending, and he just stared at me, and I was like, you can't tell me that's air bending. And he just and I was like, is this some Avatar voodoo stuff? And
it'll be explained later, Karrie. It's gonna get explained later.
I was just like, what is this?
No, it's so funny.
I was like, did he lie?
People who haven't seen all of Avatar talk about certain aspects of Avatar, because you're like the glowy eyes thing, and that just makes me laugh because that's such a big thing in the lore. That's so funny. Let's see. What's an Avatar moment I can talk about that's not spoilery? Shoot. Karrie, get ready for Zuko's backstory. Get ready for it. It's gonna...
I'm so ready for it. But also, who allowed him to have that hairstyle in the beginning? Like, who told him that looked good? Who lied to that boy? Like, who lied to him?
That's
as an Uncle Iroh or whatever needs to be a better uncle and just either shave it off completely or like he needs to sit down and talk to this kid.
No, that's the biggest meme because I guess it's not much of a spoiler. Zuko's hair changes every single season.
Yeah, I know he like at some point he has like normal hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, but like
when does that happen?
What happened here? Who told this boy that looked okay?
That's great. I love that.
When does he get a sense of style?
When he's forced to. Take from that statement what you will. We haven't talked about Soul Eater yet. I love the moment because I'm a huge sucker for one character protecting a character they really care about, and I'm always a sucker for those moments where Soul protects Mako with his life. Yeah, it's
where he
not
like throws himself over her.
Yeah, it's like because there's the 2 moments. There's when they're fighting Stein, and she's like on the ground, and he like throws it. He's like, "You're not gonna fucking touch my Meister, bitch! Like you're not gonna touch her." And then of course there's the moment with Krona in the cathedral, and he's just like.
And there's also another moment I think of is when they're falling, and I don't remember what fight it's with.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while, but they're falling, and he changes mid-fall and turns so he takes the hit instead of her.
Yeah.
Like it happens so much, and we're like, and they're canonly not together yet. Like,
I'm like, how is that possible? Like, like it's always like a struggle because I'm like people can be like opposite genders and be that good of friends and not be attracted romantically, but at the same time I'm like, come on.
I was just kind of waiting for like a very
Right.
subtle, like for the I was like, I like that we have like that friendship, but I was waiting for like that very subtle reveal, like it was just like that out of note, like where it just kind of like they just do something and it's like a very subtle like, oh, okay, they are, but it's just not that big of a deal to them anymore. Like that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Like, they also just bicker too much to be just friends. Like I was fine with them as friends, but they bicker way too much to be just friends. Like they bicker like an old married couple.
The children keep invading the room.
Barricade it.
Trying to think. There was another Soul Eater moment I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it was, so I guess I'm not going to talk about it.
Maka on Black Blood.
The crazy bitch? You mean? Yes. Oh my god.
And then like with her like in her mind being like, this is so humiliating, and so like laughing.
And so I was like, you're crazy. Oh,
but then when he reaches down into the blood to pull her back out, that was such a cool moment too.
Going back to characters protecting people they care about, it's the very end. Tracie, you haven't seen all of Soul Eater, have you?
No, not all of it yet.
It's not that big of a surprise, but it's the very ending battle. Again, Tracie, I'm not going to give too much away. It's where Lord Death protects Kid and all the other people in the death room. Do you remember that, Karrie? And he gets like fucked up. I love that scene.
This one's less like epic and more funny, and it's from the manga. I don't know if it's in the anime, I can't remember. When they're going through like that book and they go into the room where it switches their genders, and then it's revealed that the quicker you switch back, the less perverted you are. And it's between Liz and Tsubaki.
That
and
is
then
so
Tsubaki's
funny.
the last one to
that's
switch
not in the
back,
anime.
and Black Star reveals that they sleep in the same bed. And
I have
what?
seen a post about that. I have seen a post about that, but that is not in the anime. I have not.
It's in the manga, and it's hilarious. But you get to see everyone if they were the opposite gender.
That's cute. I like that.
Including Blair. Blair's there too.
For some reason. Because Blair loves to just insert herself. Oh, here. Let's go back to My Hero for a second. The sports festival arc, I like, because obviously Deku and Todoroki's fight is like the big one everyone focuses on, but I love the Bakugo versus Uraraka fight.
I did too, and in the end when they're all like, you hit a girl like that, and he's like, yeah, and like she's an amazing, like I was like, thank you.
No, I love it.
Thank you.
The way they did it in the dub, they're like, it's like, how would you hit like a frail girl like that? And he sits down and he's like, I wouldn't call that girl frail. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and he has so much of it, like it shows that he does respect her, and I'm like, thank you. Uraraka's amazing.
That's my favorite fight of the sports tournament. Like, I love the Deku and Todoroki fight too. Like,
that was a great one.
But I'm like, the Bakugo and Uraraka fight is like where it's at. I love that one.
And then was it? I feel like I remember someone walking up and being like to Deku and was like, "Was that your idea?" And he was like, "No, that was all her."
Because him and Bakugo and Deku like run into each other right after that fight, and Deku's like, "Oh, congratulations!" And he's like, "That was your plan, wasn't it? Because like you'd come up with something stupid like that." And Deku's like, "No, if that fight was harder than you thought it would be, that's because of her. I had nothing to do with it."
Yeah, and he was like, that was not me. He was like, I tried to offer her plan, and then she refused. She wanted to fight fully on her own power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just love My Hero, y'all. I love that show so much. I'm such a basic bitch.
Have any of you guys watched Seven Deadly Sins?
I have not.
I have not either.
It's a good one, and they have, I'm not sure, but I'm at season 2. I don't know if they come out with another season, but I won't give too much. But there's a death scene, and the death scene is like a main character,
Mhm.
and everyone he like sends it off so everyone else is sent to safety, and
Mhm.
he takes them on, and so they all watch in this like almost like a crystal ball sort of thing as he's getting like killed, and they're
Oh.
watching that and reacting,
And they can't do
and
anything.
like they can't do it, and it's just this
That's
heart-wrenching moment.
horrible.
And then they send in the love interest to go and find, and she finds his body, and she like checks, and he's like, it's a whole scene, and I was like,
That's awful.
why?
That's so
That's that show.
awful. Oh my god.
And they're just watching it, and they're like, it's horrible.
Like my heart
And it's
hurts,
like
I
his
don't even
best
know what characters you're
friend,
talking
his
about. I
love
don't know, like,
interest. This
I don't know
kid that has
context.
looked up to him since he was a little boy, and once like it's like everyone, and you're like, why?
That's wild.
Yeah, that's something that. But then, again, I can't really go into it because it's part of the story. But his reveal back is amazing. I
Mhm.
can't say anything because if you do watch it, it is a big part of the show that is revealed, and it's a big part of the character's backstory. But
Mhm.
that last little bit of the second season is amazing.
Mhm.
Very heart-wrenching. You will cry.
Here. Let me see. Oh, here's what it is. Because Tracie, you said you did watch Code Geass at one point, but like you don't remember a lot of
I
it.
don't remember a lot of it. I was
Okay.
like a senior in high school, which was like 11 years ago.
Yeah. And then Karrie, you haven't seen Code Geass at all, have you? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I want to talk about the fact that Code Geass's first season leaves off on the worst cliffhanger I have ever seen in my goddamn life. It is terrible. And terrible in the fact that like it leaves you wanting more, but it's like, how dare you do this to me? Because I remember because it was before like Code Geass was on like Netflix and everything. Like there was like nowhere to stream it. And it had just gotten released on DVD. And I'm like, I want to watch Code Geass because it's a classic, but I don't know if I'll like it. So I just bought season 1. That's all I bought. And then we get to the very last episode, and literally like the last 30 seconds are the most stressful thing I've ever seen in my life. And then, not to give anything away, but it just leaves off on gunshots being fired. It goes to black, and then it goes to the credits. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Horrible.
I'm
That's
like,
horrible.
I was sitting in my chair and I literally collapsed onto the floor. I was so shocked. I'm like, are you
That's how you know it's a good show. Like
kidding
when you
me?
have a physical reaction.
I like fell to the ground. I'm like, you can't do this. I immediately ran to my mom and I'm like, Mom, we need to go to the mall right now because I need to get season 2 of the show. I need to see what happens. And then season 2 doesn't help to like clear the confusion from that cliffhanger. They don't tell you what happens in that cliffhanger until like 4 or 5 episodes into season 2, and you're like, what?
That's so mean.
It's wild. It's wild.
Did you? I know Megan has watched Soul Eater. Tracie, have you watched, or not Soul Eater? Sword Art Online.
No, I've not seen that yet.
I've only seen through season 2. I have not seen
Well,
season
I'm only talking about the end of season 1 because that's the only relevant season.
Okay.
And I will fight people. And that last scene when Asuna finally wakes up, and you pans to the mirror and you see them from the game watching them, and then hold hands and then walk away and fade away for like the final time. Scene.
It's been a really long time since I've seen it, but yeah.
That's at the when he finally like gets to her, he finally got her out, and she finally wakes up, and they're hugging and crying because neither one of them are dead. Holy crap! To them, the window, and you see them their game selves walking away together before fading out. You're like, that hurt more than I thought it would.
Yeah, that was a genuinely like really sweet scene in the show. I can't speak today.
We go back to actually. I want to talk about Makia.
Ah, Makia. Yes.
Fuck Makia. Fuck you, Megan.
Okay, so the whole movie, I'm like thinking, this is such a sweet movie, and of course, till the end, you're just like, oh my god, you think your mom, you really, really want to call your mom up and like tell her how much you love her
Yeah,
and
by
stuff
the
like
end
that.
of it, you wanted to like call your mom and just be
It's
like,
like
"I'm sorry for being a horrible child."
Makia and Wolf Children. Those are the two that like make you want to call your mom. You're like, oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Well, and like the ending, I really, really wish she would have gotten another child to raise. Because,
She might
I mean,
want
she
another
learned
kid.
her lesson, though. I mean, she did say that she finally understands what her elder was saying. If you fall in love with someone from the other world, you'll truly be alone, because she watched him, she
Die.
raised him, and then watched him,
that's
spoiler
true.
alert, die.
Oh yeah,
And that was
spoiler
like the
alert for
most
Makia.
heartbreaking thing for her, letting him go and then watching him die. So, like,
Oh.
I don't know if maybe she should.
That scene though, it's like right after the battle's done, and like she's like she's with him, and she's like, listen, like your wife gave birth, like they're both fine and everything. I have to go, and she like starts walking off, and he calls out, he's like, mom, come back. Like that scene's the one that gets me, where he's like, mom.
Yeah, that was hard.
That,
Yeah,
and then when her friend that was like driven insane like falls,
Oh yeah.
and she grabs her with the dragon that they stole, and then the girl get to see her mom actually happy for like the first time as they like ride off. That was such a big moment too.
Yeah.
That movie was also just beautiful, so everything looked stunning.
It pisses me off because it has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a beautiful film, and no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like no one knows what this movie is. And I'm like, watch Makia, please. Oh, I want to talk about Mirai for a second. Because it's one of the flashback scenes in Mirai, and it's when teenage Mirai is taking Kun, and they're kind of like floating through their family's history or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be because like it's kind of build up through the film, because they talk about like, oh, the grandfather won the grandmother's hand by winning her, like beating her in a foot race or something like that. And it like they keep like talking about it through the movie, and you're like, oh yeah, you kind of like disregard it, but then it shows the actual race.
Yeah,
and he has a limp, and the only reason he wins is because she just stops and she lets him pass her, and it's such a cute scene,
so
and like I love that.
That
okay,
movie,
but nothing beats the moment where teen meets kid.
Oh yeah.
Where teen him meets kid him. That is the funniest moment.
He's like, God, eat the banana at the dining room table. What are you? Oh, it's so cute.
That was so funny.
It's such a cute movie. What were you gonna say, Tracie?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I literally, at like the beginning, I was so confused, and then after a while, I was just like, oh, okay, now I get like the whole what they were doing and stuff like that, like the whole going back and going forward.
Yeah, I really like the message of that film. It's like literally like where we are now, who we are is a result of like choices made by so many people who came before us. Like, and I like really like that. I like
that's true.
Yeah, it's great. Okay. How much of Hetalia have you guys seen?
A lot.
Great.
I was gonna say I've only seen the movie.
You've only seen the movie.
Which one?
The Painted White movie.
Yeah.
Because I am a sucker for when Hetalia gets serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I have down America's Storage Room, when he has like the Revolutionary War
and
flashbacks.
that backstory.
I'm like
that scene with England.
The scene with England
in the Revolution, and I was like, I feel guilty. I shouldn't feel guilty.
You're making me feel guilty for being free.
I was like, you guys were jerks. Don't make me feel guilty.
Because that was the first time in the show they actually like got serious, or they actually like treated a historical event like seriously, and like it's like, yeah, that is shit. And then in the more recent seasons, I love the Joan of Arc episode, with France.
Oh yeah.
And because it's so sad, because it's kind of like the Mafia deal, where they like fall in love with these people who like defend their nation or whatever, and of course these people eventually have to die, and they live through all this stuff, and like France is like, he's like, you always hold out a hope that these people who live such miserable lives will get the chance to live good ones and be happy, and he's like, and I'm glad that happened for you. And of course, this girl doesn't know she's a reincarnation, so she's like, "What?"
Yeah. And then he's like gone, and she's like, "What just happened?"
France is out of there. He pulls it back. But yeah, and then the Davy episode, and then the fucking yeah. When Hitalia gets serious, it's really, really good.
It's really good.
I was at a convention one time, and there was a Hitalia panel, and I asked the 3 people who I can't even remember who was on that panel. But I asked the 3 of them, like, if you, and I'm like, obviously the show gets serious sometimes, like, what historical event would you want them to, like, tackle if they could, if they made more Hitalia? And one of them's like, I would love to see Hitalia tackle 9/11. Like, and they're like, I have no clue how they would do it, but, like, it'd be interesting.
Shade, I've read fan fiction about that, and, like, I think the worst one I ever had was he was at, like, a meeting or something, or with others, and then he just fucking, like, collapsed, and everyone, like, freaked out.
Everyone's like, you good?
And I was just like, oh my god!
The amount of, like, angsty Hitalia fan fiction I read in the day, because I read a fan fiction one time, and it was World War II era, and it's right after Pearl Harbor happens, and, like, you know, America joins the war and everything, and he comes into an Allied meeting, and he's almost manic in how he, like, wants to help, and, like, everything. He's like, okay, dude, this is gonna be great, it's gonna be awesome, and, like, and everyone's like, dude, like, you're still recovering, or, like, are you okay? And England actually, like, goes to, like, put a hand on his shoulder, and he's like, don't fucking touch me, I'm okay, I'm fine, let's just get this done. And I'm like, Jesus Christ,
okay, but my
writer.
favorite thing was, like, when the smiles went away with America, pretty much, when he just, like, had, like, those fan fictions were the best. Where it was just him, and it, like, kind of revealed, or even with any of them, where they just kind of, like, were different, but yeah.
Yeah.
Those were great.
We love funny shows being depressing.
There's some fan fiction out there. Some of them, you'll be watching on YouTube are amazing, and it's ridiculous. Like, I'm like, why isn't this published? Like, why isn't this a book?
This is why doujinsis exist. Going back to Attack on Titan, this is a moment, because it's very safe to say Armin is definitely one of my favorite characters in Attack on Titan. And the moment that got me to love him was the speech he gives defending Eren to the military, saying, like, he's not a threat. That whole speech, like, he just gains his confidence and, like, gives this really badass speech, and I'm like, you go! Because before then, because I remember, like, the whole thing, because when Attack on Titan first came out, they're like, oh my god, Armin, he's such a bitch. Like, he's such a little bitch, we hate Armin. And then, like, that speech happens, and everyone's like, oh, okay. And, like, I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. Don't disrespect him.
Don't diss him.
Don't disrespect my boy.
He's so pure, and that's why I hate it, like, that scene in general, what happens to him. I was just like, no. I was literally screaming at Amber. I was just like, he can't. That's impossible. He cannot do that. He's so
You know what sucks about that? Because when I first watched, because again, I like, knew it happened, but I didn't know how it happened. So I was watching. It happens because I was watching it on Hulu, and suddenly my Hulu goes out, and it won't let me watch the next episode. And I'm like, no. And so I had to wait. I had to wait like 2 days for my Hulu to get back on so I could fucking finish the episodes. And I was so pissed. And I'm like, no, don't do this to me, Hulu.
That's when I would have asked someone on Facebook, does anybody have a Hulu account I can borrow for, like...
I don't know if it was just my Hulu or if, like, just the Hulu server was down and, like, everyone was having trouble. I don't know. But yeah.
Has anyone watched Tokyo Ghoul?
I have not.
I haven't either.
Oh. Oh, well, there's this really at the end. So, do you know the basic premise of it?
The basic premise of it, yes.
He gets turned into a ghoul. But
Yeah.
that. So at the very there's this big battle scene, and at the end, his friend. Oh, I don't really know. There's a big thing that happens with his friend, and so there's a scene where he's, as a ghoul, is walking, carrying his friend in his arms,
Oh yeah,
who is
okay.
limp,
I've seen that
and
image.
he's
Yeah.
walking into to the other, like the people that are hunting the ghouls, and he's just holding him, and it's just this kind of moment where you're like, and then that's it. Like
That's
it
it?
ends there. That's the end of the season. Is him walking up and stopping, and the CGI people, or they're not CGI. I don't remember who they are. They might be. I don't know. The ghoul hunters all like are looking at him. This very wanted ghoul, and it's just like they're all staring at him, and he's just watching them, not doing anything, holding his friend. And then that's it. That's the end of the season. You're like,
I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. Oh no. Oh.
Excuse me.
Okay. Cowboy Bebop. I know.
I've just seen the movie.
You've just seen the movie.
Yeah, I just see the movie.
Okay, you've just seen the movie. Okay. God, what do I want to say then? Okay, so near the end of this isn't really a spoiler. I don't think it is, but near the end of Cowboy Bebop, there's a conversation. It's like I think it's in the very last episode. It's a conversation between Spike and Faye. And it's like, I guess I really can't give too much away, but because you guys just need to watch it. But it's like, it's such a great conversation. Like, both of their characters are just really laid out flat, and they kind of just, any walls that were there, they kind of just let them go. And they're like, okay, we need to stop bullshitting. Like, this is happening. You need to cut the shit. Like, you can't be doing this. And like, again, I can't give too much away because you guys haven't even seen any of the show. You've just seen the movie, but it's like, oh, good. You need to watch Cowboy Bebop.
I guess going back to Haikyuu in this latest, where it ended in this latest season, where Hinata did the major jump, and then the other team realized that they're like, we haven't seen all that he can do, and he's experimenting when playing with us, and they kind of take him to another level. That moment was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Shiro Toizawa was awesome for Tsukishima, but that moment where he's like, we're being pinned, and it's Hinata and Tsukishima, and it's Ushijima on top of him, and then Daichi Suga and Asahi come up and push him off. I was like,
that's a really great scene. And
that show is like so many like symbolism stuff happening to the point where when I was even first watching it, I just remember the first time I watched it, and Kageyama, when he first walks in, you got the cape and the crown. It took me a second to be like, no, he's not that extra where he's walking in with a cape and a crown. That's just
he's actually walking in with the whole garb.
Like, and I was like, it's Cusco up in here.
I love that. I really like, because again, like, I like scenes like they're not like really like the main like focus of an episode, or like they're not like really the scene you should focus on. But in the recent Haikyuu episode, I love the scene with all the Karasuno third years at the shrine on New Year's. I love that scene where it's just like the three guys and Kyoko, and they're just kind of like,
they're all
praying for a good year and praying that they do well.
And then it kind of like lightens it up with Asahi.
Yeah. And
it lightens it up with like Asahi like getting the bad fortune, and they're like,
they're like, bro, how do you do that? That's like almost impossible. I just think it's really cute because who is it? Asahi says like, oh, I prayed to the gods that like we would do well. Was I not supposed to do that? And Kyoko's like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, the gods aren't gonna help us win our games. And the three boys are like, okay. And she's like, it's okay, we won't need help from the gods. And they look at her like, you know, all the boys look at Kyoko and they're like, yes,
a goddess among men.
The goddess among men.
I love her so much.
I love Kyoko, but more than anything, I love how the boys react to Kyoko. And that's
honestly,
like
even all of them. Like, but my favorite thing is when the third years like really freak out, and like the first years are like, what is wrong? Because they've just had this Kyoko that's like reacting and stuff, so they don't understand that she hasn't necessarily like been this open or like, you know. And so when the third years react and they're like, oh my god, like it is the
also
thing.
just Yachi. Yachi's a win.
Yachi
no matter
is a
what.
mood though.
Yachi's the biggest mood.
It also cracked me up that the one she befriended was Hinata and Kageyama, which are like two of the most overwhelming of the team. Like where like Kageyama's known to be super scary and Hinata's just like all over the like textbooks extrovert, and those are the two people who she befriended and is most comfortable around. Like,
yeah. What the fuck is his name? Atsumu. And when he cuts off the band right before he does a serve, I'm like, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't care if you're an asshole. That was the coolest shit. I'm like,
dude, but if you like Smokey, stop. Such a brat. But like if you listen to the fandom, Atsumu is like this like really like womanizer, playboy, smooth dude, and I was like, I just got gigantic asshole from him, like arrogant, and
I'm like he turns to the girls and says, "Don't you dare interrupt my serve again, you pig."
Yeah, I was like I don't know if he ever gets a date like that.
So yeah, I'm like, don't know how much I'm gonna like him, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but time skip. It goes into them professional play, and Hinata's on the team with them. Yeah. So I'm excited to see like with Hinata on the team with them, how and like we get more of him. Of course, I'll probably have to read the manga.
Yeah.
Or wait, because I mean, there's a whole like other stuff that happens. But
I've been loving seeing the.
I'm excited to see.
I've loved seeing the fandom talk about the time skip stuff. So like and they keep talking about Kuro hasn't showed up yet from Nekoma. Like that he hasn't shown up at all in the time skip, and everyone's like, "Is he dead? Like where is he? We've seen everybody else."
Oh my gosh! And I just found out that Tsukishima plays professionally too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, but he definitely is not on the same team as Hinata or Kageyama.
Because it's Hinata, Sakusa, Atsumu, and Bokuto.
Yeah, I was like, whoever decided to put Bokuto and Hinata on the same team, I appreciate you so much. Okay. And it's like Ushijima, Oikawa, Kageyama. And I was like, okay, Oikawa and Ushijima together. At least that's what I've seen. But those two together, and then the Bokuto and Hinata, that's going to be hilarious.
I think we literally have like 30 seconds left, so we're going to call it a day. It was a great discussion.
All right. It was great. Yes.